Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. The recent announcement as to delays for fleet carriers has left people wondering what may be happening with content and the game over the next few months. The fleet carriers have delayed into the second quarter of 2020, which potentially from this point leaves a 6 to 8 month period where there's not going to be any significant additions to the game. The good side of this, of course, is that Frontier are bug fixing the game. Hopefully that will bring a number of balance issues under correction as well. But the other side of that is that, well, bug fixing should be happening all along anyway. It is a staple after all for bug fixes to be made during the progress of development on online games. And if that hasn't really been happening with Elite, it does raise a lot of questions. But nonetheless, Frontier have seen the light. They do know the game needs fixing. So that is where we're at. But all in all, where does that leave us in terms of content for the next 6 to 8 months? What's going to happen? If the past year is anything to go by, the content starvation is going to remain a thing. However, there are likely to be the sporadic Interstellar Initiatives. Now, these tend to get a mixed result or a mixed reception, at least in terms of the comments I see here on my YouTube video, and I think that is entirely fair. Interstellar Initiatives, after all, are a mixed bag. Some of them I do like, others not so much. And in this video I want to get into the reasons for that, as well as have a look at how Interstellar Initiatives could be improved over the coming months to better make way for, well, giving people things to do over the next year. Very briefly then, let's have a talk about what works and doesn't work with the current set of Interstellar Initiatives, and this is the ones that we've had so far this year. Now, as I said at the end of yesterday's video, I do like curated content in online games. Now, curated content, of course, is content that's hand-placed or hand-implemented by the developers of any game. So not automated quests, not automated quests rather, but stuff such as, well, the Interstellar Initiatives and community goals. These do work, I do think. However, there is a big caveat to that, and it depends on just how engaging these all actually are. I actually think that the Interstellar Initiatives so far have been a mixed bag. The first Interstellar Initiative, Bridging the Gap, was, well, a bit so-so. It just introduced a few weapons here and there. These were quite good rewards in and of themselves, but ultimately they didn't really change anything. They were no better than other weapons, in some cases perhaps worse. The second Interstellar Initiative, the Enclave, was somewhat better because ultimately it did have a lasting impact upon the galaxy with the introduction of stations in an area of space not previously inhabited. And of course the current Interstellar Initiative, the Scourge, is somewhat lesser by comparison. There seems to be no real impact here. Just a chain of community goals that we've had all along ever since their initial inception all the way back in 2015. So for me, what really doesn't work with Interstellar Initiatives and curated content is just painting a backstory and leaving players to just get on with a basic game loop, such as delivering a commodity from A to B or go and shoot pirates in this particular sector. That's nothing new, it's nothing interesting, it's nothing that the game doesn't already offer. Of course, judging by the amount of contributors involved in these particular community goals, there are many thousands of players who are quite happily participating in them. Yet, I'd be willing to bet that there'd be many more thousands of players interested if the rewards as well as the engagement was that much more interesting. And that really kind of brings me on to the next point, what I'd like to see in future Interstellar Initiatives and how I think Frontier could better engage the player base with these particular game mechanics. Now, the fact of it is, Frontier do have some decent game loops in the game, despite what some people may say. There are some pretty interesting concepts, but the strange thing is that Frontier rarely, if ever, actually make good use of these, and that's very, very odd in my book. Now, a good example of these are the scenarios that were introduced last year. The megaships is a great example. Essentially, you can drop in at a megaship that's under threat, they will ask for assistance, and you have the option, defend it or attack it. Now, why has this not been used with Phase 3 of this particular Interstellar Initiative? Essentially, players are sent after terrorists in the game right now. You just have to collect some combat bonds by destroying ships in certain areas. But this could have been so much more. Obviously, the terrorists rather, could have had megaships. You could have dropped in at them and then choose whether you want to support that faction or whether you want to destroy it. Naturally, this would lead to some pretty awesome PvE engagements, but it would also lead to some pretty natural PvP engagements as players choose to either defend or attack any particular megaship. It's a very easy option, using assets as well as scenarios and gameplay that's already in the game, so why is it not being used? And ultimately, it seems to me at least that these would be very easy solutions. You could have simple scenarios whereby you just drop in on distress signals and help NPCs create a story around that. Likewise, there could be more dramatic scenarios. There's already destructible stations in the game. Why do these need to revolve around Thargoids all the time? Surely terrorists could attack a space station and then players could go and assist with this. Creating a dynamic gameplay and engaging gameplay is not difficult. It's already there. Frontier have built these scenarios up over a number of years. It's just for some reason they choose not to use them. Just consider for a moment how much more interesting Phase 3 of this Interstellar Initiative would be if, well, we had to go and attack megaships that the terrorists owned, and that they in turn had attacked and damaged space stations within certain star systems. That, of course, is just one aspect or one side of this. The other side is the rewards. What's the incentive for going to get engaged? Well, at the moment, there's no real incentive other than to just be a part of the tapestry, to be a part of the story, but for many players, that simply isn't enough. Credit rewards are one thing. There's no reason that huge payouts can be made for getting involved with these things. The other things are cosmetic rewards, which has happened from time to time, and maybe at the end of this Interstellar Initiative there will be a cosmetic reward, but at the moment that's not clear. Players essentially are not given any incentive to get involved. Now, my concern is that over the next 6 to 8 months, Frontier are going to need to keep players engaged and interested with compelling gameplay. And those levels of engagement and interest could easily be raised to very high levels simply by using compelling and interesting scenarios that already exist in the game, as well as providing decent levels of rewards. That's just my thoughts on the matter. I'd love to hear from you. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.